Hey guys, we're back again. This time we're going to be looking at a sci-fi kit from Goodsmile Company, part of their Moderoid line of kits of the Strelitzia from Darling and the FranXX. Let's open her on up and take a look. The kit does have a bit of an interesting style box opening that you don't typically see. That's both very interesting thing. So, uh, we'll start out. Does come with a bit of a wire for one of the details. This is a nice little inclusion, opposed to just something plastic and static. So this will give you a little more option. Starting right out we've got main sprue that contains most of the chest parts as well as the hands. Overall sculpting on the hands is very fine. My only real complaint would be this connector point here, which is meant to hold the weapon, which is a little on the beefier side. However, uh, it's one of those things. It's a catch-22. Yeah, if you have it there, it'll better secure it. Same time, though, it does make it a little more challenging to position. Beyond that, sculpting on the actual torso is actually very subtle and very nice. Now, one thing you will notice is that it does come partially pre-colored. Um, from the looks of it, this was factory painted as opposed to part of the injection process. Similar here on her upper chest. You also get almost didn't notice additional hand for one of the other option parts. Again, a lot of this detailing is quite nice and subtle. Nothing really jumps out at me as having an issue. As I'll be honest, this is the first kit from Goodsmile I've purchased as part of this line. Moving on, we start getting some of the armor parts building up right now in the shoulders. It does give you a bit the size of the overall heft. One downside of this kit is that it does not give you options to display it in the sort of beast form that the Mecha can go into. Which, granted, I don't see how they'd be able to engineer it, but is what it is. Kit also does come with a little bit of a stand to help support it as we get into some more odds and ends and details. Overall, more than acceptable. Now, interesting enough, they chose to go for the red, this sort of more pastel-y red. To look at it in the series, it's more deeper, richer red. So that is something you may need to paint. Again, some of the details they have gone ahead and pre-factory painted for you. So that will save you a little time if you're just going to slap it together. But if you're going to paint it yourself, no, the effort's wasted. Now we start getting into some of the weapon parts. Including this very large part here is part of the weapon, main section on the lance, and some of the shielding. Continuing on, more detailed parts, including the tip for the lance, which they do get to a very fine point. So that is something to be careful with, as that'll be easily damaged if you're not doing it the right way. Still more armor. They've done a lot of armor parts for this kit. I will say that. Now again, some of the polycaps to help put it together. Repeat of the last sprue we just saw beforehand. Oops. Now I will. Oops, where I dropped that. One thing I will say, I get why they did it as far as pre-painting stuff. It would have been nice if they had given us a blank, unused face template. They sort of give it to us with this one. However, it's still somewhat factory pre-painted, so it does limit you a little. Ugh, I keep dropping this. One of those days. And overall, the one that they've totally done for you is okay. There's some subtle problems, and you will probably also have to come in and do a panel line wash to pick out some of the details, but it's acceptable. Going on, we're getting now into leg parts as well as some of the helmet parts. Excuse me. Again, this is one of those kits that just screams to have a panel wash done to really get all these details to pop. Now, continuing on. Again, another set of parts that they've gone ahead and factory pre-painted. Again, now this is hit and miss depending on what your plans are. Coming down to the end now, some more additional armor build-up parts. Double sprue there. Getting it now to the bottom of her feet. A couple other odds and ends, and finally, last bit of detailing. Let's get these back in, and then we will discuss the marking options that they do provide in the kit. Now, unfortunately, the kit only gives you a sheet of stickers. To look at it, I honestly think the quality is about the same as the Bandai stickers, or maybe even a little worse. So I would say your best option is to scan all of this in and then just run it off as a water slide decal sheet. That's the only thing I think you can really do short of hand painting. So yeah, that is a bit of a disappointment. Now let's get into the instructions. I do apologize. I guess neighbors are doing a bit of housework. So, right. Assembly begins obviously starting in the head and then builds out and down from there. There are several steps that you will need to make sure you pay special attention to so that you don't miss anything, as there is a lot going on. And I would say that's probably the kit's biggest fault, is they did over-engineer it a little, as you can tell by the sheer number of armor pieces. Granted, this was done in an effort to make it as posable as possible, at least I do believe. But at the same time, there is a lot of detail into this kit. So this is definitely one you're going to need to take a little bit of time with, especially if you're going to be painting. As, yeah, there's a lot of sections where you may need to either mask or just, be smart about your build sequence. Obviously, once you get done with torso, move to legs, and then finally onto the armor and weapon parts. Again, once you get it built, it will be quite impressive. Now, unfortunately, they do not include any type of paint key that I was able to find for this kit, which is a bit disappointing. But thankfully, the paint palette that's used is pretty simple, mainly white, red, and yellow. So you can sort of cheat a little and do a little color matching. Now, overall, it's a bit of a bare kit. It's going to take some time and take some effort. They did over-engineer it, but once you do get it built, it will be very impressive, to say the least, especially if you paint it up, do some panel line washes, and yeah. So that was a look at Goodsmile Company's Strelitzia. Interesting kit with a lot of options for posing it once you get her built, but getting her built is going to be the main slog. So until next time.